Hello and welcome to this week's root cause clinic. So every week I'm going to be answering questions that have been submitted from my clients. So whether they are in the Detox Academy, the Cleansing Club, they purchased my book, one of my courses, however you have entered my world, you are welcome to submit some questions to the root cause clinic. So this is the second edition. Going to get the questions up now for you. Okay, first question we've got this week. I would like to eventually do 10 to 12 liver cleanses to get rid of chronic symptoms. I'm wondering if I were to do them 1 to 2 times a month, would I need to be worried about any diet deficiencies with being vegan for 1 to 2 weeks out of every month for a year? And I'm also curious about weight gain with drinking olive oil with each cleanse. Okay, so the first thing to say here is you can usually detox for around a year before you start to get concerned about deficiencies. But even then, because we're removing toxicity, that will improve any deficiencies that you have because you're going to have better absorption and the body will then start picking up nutrients instead of chemicals, which is what it potentially has done if you are very, very toxic. That's not to say, though, that you can't bring in some nutrient dense supplements or foods whilst you're on this journey. So things like cod liver oil, amazing, more so in the winter months because it's a really high natural food form of vitamin D as well, but it's really nutrient dense. Organ blends, and organ blends are great because the liver is good for the liver. We don't want to just do beef liver, and beef liver is optimal, like beef organs, but doing liver only can create too much copper in the body. So it's best to rotate between different organs because they each can have different benefits. So like I said, the liver's good for liver, kidney's good for kidney, heart's good for heart. So if you can get an actual organ blend, you're going to get lots of benefits. But mostly that is a very, very nutrient dense food. It's a superfood. And the other one was broths, bone broth in particular. And again, it will also support liver flushing, but also full of minerals, abundant in minerals. Also with the liver flushing, the more you do, the more you'll be able to kind of test for yourself what your tolerance, I guess we should call it, in terms of diet. So whenever we start out liver flushing, we're very strictly adhering to the protocol. And as you say, it's very in line with vegan diet, very plant-based. But as time goes on, you might find that you actually get away with having more of a vegetarian diet and you'll still get a really good result. So I say after about 3 or 4 flushes, you could try a vegetarian diet, except for the last 1 or 2 days before you actually flush. That's when you might want to then fully rein it back to being vegan. But there is flexibility, is what I'm saying. So if you felt you started to feel quite tired and you thought, I don't feel like I'm getting quite depleted. I'm flushing a lot out and I don't know if I'm getting enough in. You might then want to play around with the diet. And by all means, please try vegetarian. Some people will even have poultry. Not so much red meat because it's a bit harder on digestion, but they would have like some chicken or definitely eggs in the earlier days of the flush, and the last couple of days they would then do the vegan diet. So that's also an option. And then there was a question about the oil. So, in my opinion, there isn't really any concern with weight gain from that amount of olive oil because overall your total calories are still going to be quite low given the type of diet that you'll be following. And ultimately, you're having a clean, whole foods based diet all the time you're doing the healing work. It's very difficult to put on weight when you're following that sort of diet because the body's utilizing all of those nutrients and minerals and vitamins that you're having. There isn't really any excess calories or excess ingredients that the body doesn't really use that would then store as fat. And even the olive oil is being utilized for the purpose of the flush. It's stimulating that release and out it comes. So I wouldn't be worried about the olive oil at all. So the other question, do we need to be concerned about our tooth enamel with how much apple cider vinegar and lemon water that we drink in the day? And that's especially relevant when you're doing an actual cleanse protocol. So I completely understand where that question's coming from. And you probably do want to be mindful of it. So for me, I have drank it for years and I've never had a problem. But that's not to say that you won't ever have a problem. And some clients, even when they first start on it, they notice some sensitivity. So what they tend to do is use a straw. If you use a straw, it's pretty much going to then just go through the straw straight down your throat. And it might be something that you want to do to protect your enamel. So it's very, very sensible question. and very valid. So yes, I would recommend a straw in that situation. The other question, I have a fair bit of weight to lose, which I'm assuming this diet will help with, but I've also heard a lot about toxins being released when losing weight. So what can we do to support our bodies throughout this process, or does the daily drink kind of do that for us? So this client is in the Detox Academy, so the question is very specific about what we're doing in that process. So the answer is that the program factors this in. So the first thing I want to say is don't worry. You will be very supported as you go through that process to ensure that as toxins are released, there isn't going to be these side effects and these issues. And that's one of the most important things about doing detox in the right order. So we recommend a daily binder, and that is going to start mopping up toxicity. So if you do start to lose weight, because yes, these diets, it's all very anti-inflammatory, it's clean foods, it's whole foods, it's everything the body wants to actually use and absorb and assimilate. So it definitely would encourage some weight loss. So if you do start to lose some weight and toxins start to get released, the binder's there ready to mop up. The morning cocktail. This gives your body minerals to support the detox, a liver herb to support the liver, and the liver is going to help detox you too. And crucially, as I say, doing things in the right order. That's the most important thing you can do to ensure it's a very gentle, gradual process, which will take the detox deeper and deeper, but allowing your body time to adjust. Okay, so it's going to go deeper in line with what your body is capable of handling. When we rush off and do something like a water fast for a week, that is when you are at risk of suddenly losing lots of weight. Toxins are flooding the bloodstream and the body cannot handle it. And actually, you can cause cellular damage by doing that. Okay, none of that here. We also teach you daily lymphatic support, and that is going to help toxins get released and actually be moved out of the body. So they're not hanging around causing you problems. The diet, that supports inflammation levels, and it's going to start reducing inflammation so that your body actually has more capacity to focus on the detox and the results of that. Plus, we do a nervous system reset at the start, which gets your body into a healing state. So that then is going to prevent the detox causing stress or shock on the body. Okay, so all of these are the ways in which we will help you support your body. And so we've got the order, we start regulating the nervous system, we implement all the foundational pieces, and then we start on drainage before we get into any actual detox protocols. Okay, when we do start protocols, we always start at the bottom of the drainage funnel, so the colon, then the kidneys, then the liver, and this just makes it really gentle, gradual, and highly supportive. So the next question was, are there any recommendations on where to start to support skin healing with topical steroid withdrawal? We've got lots of clients in the Detox Academy who are addressing topical steroid withdrawal, is the first thing I would say. But the way to start is always the same. So regardless of the health condition, the way you heal the body is the way that you heal the body. Initial steps, calm the nervous system. Can't heal when we're in fight or flight and we're under large chronic stress. Then you address the foundations of the body. So that's things like clean water. We're having a really nutritious, anti-inflammatory, whole foods-based diet. Using products that are low tox, managing your exposure to chemicals and toxins, looking at your environment, how much sleep are you getting, support your body with minerals, herbal liver support, things like this. Then you're big on drainage. So we are then starting to help the body do its own natural detox ability, basically, making sure those pathways are really open. And start very gently, things like grounding in the morning, get out, walk barefoot on the grass, get sunlight into your eyes. All of these things start to help support and reset the body. Castor oil packs, really great for liver drainage. Then you'd go on to the actual detox protocols. So at the same time as this, especially with a condition like this, the gut plays a really important role. So steroids actually decimate the gut microbiome. So you need to start repairs on that too. And how that might look is firstly an elimination diet, that will start to reduce inflammation. When the body is chronically inflamed, it cannot heal. So inflammation has to be calmed first to even initiate that healing process. And then you'd bring in prebiotic foods, digestive enzymes, soil-based organisms. They're all going to help improve digestion and support the gut to begin repairs.